Welcome to Horrific Horror Review. We're going to talk Stephen King movies today. Mm-hmm. Movies, not books, which is going to be impossible, but we're going to try. So start off with your number one, and then I'll go to mine.
I'm Eric B. This is Jim.
That's right. Sorry, introductions all around.
Jim King, which, don't think that didn't fuck with me.
Because we're doing Stephen King?
Yeah, man. And I was like, is there any relation?
None.
None, huh?
None.
Have you checked?
I'm adopted, so it's checking through somebody else's name anyway, you know what I mean?
Right.
But
okay.
yeah, I don't think so. I think somebody would have clued me in on that, I think.
Yeah.
But
you never know.
I'm pretty sure I lied about it somewhere in elementary school to kids or something, but...
King's a cool ass name, man.
I always associated it with Martin Luther King, so
Did
I
you
never
really
thought... And people always said, I used to do a phone solicitation, and
Okay.
I'd say I'm Jimmy King.
Dig it.
Expected a black guy. I don't know why, but when they did, it always came off that way. So.
I think I might have known a black dude named Jimmy King.
Really?
Yeah, I swear to Christ. Okay, so my first one, Graveyard Shift, just because it was you know what? You said Stephen King movies. And I was like,
and that was the first one.
It was the first one that came into mind. And I think because it takes place in Maine, it has a mill in it, a cotton mill. I forget what they call it exactly. But the mills pop up pretty frequently, especially in Stephen King short stories.
For sure.
Those cotton mills. And
it's a creepy place to be.
Yeah.
The old cotton gin joints.
And dangerous.
Very. There's all those machines.
Ooh, man.
Isn't it the Mangler?
I believe the Mangler. Same kind of setting.
Nasty.
Yeah, exactly. Brad Dourif, I think Bradley Dourif is the actor's name.
Man, you're dating me on that. When did you see it?
When did I see Graveyard
You had to have
Shift?
been pretty young for it to be your first choice.
The first time I saw it, it was definitely late 80s, early 90s, 91. I'm pretty sure it was made in the extreme late 80s. 88, 89, something like that.
So VHS era.
Yeah, but it was on HBO. I remember watching it with my grandfather and my dad in my grandfather's basement, where I watched most of my really good movie firsts. Quite a few of them were with my dad and his father in my grandfather's basement.
A basement's a great setting for that, too.
And he would smoke cigars, usually El Productos or something.
All right.
And it would fill, his cigar smoke would fill the basement 4 feet from the ceiling to probably 4 feet, sometimes 5-6 feet down. But everyone would be still.
So you had a perfect fog.
So there was this 2-3 feet of clean air at the end, and you could see it. It was crazy. It was like an alien environment. Oh yeah, it was wild, man. And playing with it as a kid was fun. I mean, you talk about it now. Who would do that to a child? But this was the 80s, man. Exactly. You could do whatever, and I loved it. It was awesome. But yeah, I remember watching the Graveyard Shift, particularly bloody. Especially when the giant rat.
Right, that's what I remember from it the most. It was kind of campy. Maybe that's a couple years older than.
It was campy.
It was campy.
It had a great villain. The boss of the mill. It takes place in a mill, right. And the boss of the mill is particularly bad. He's a bad fucking dude. He's such a piece of shit.
Just douchebags.
He's screwing the secretary and. He's always chasing tail, and he's
blackmailing someone who's on parole.
Right? And he's really bad.
That comes
to
up
his
a lot in Stephen King movies.
Yes,
too.
It does. Taking advantage of
parolees.
Parolees. People have been in trouble.
See that star on your time card?
Yeah.
That means I own your ass.
Yeah.
So horrible.
But let me see if I can remember this guy's name. I think it's Brad Dourif, who gives. Yeah, it's Brad Dourif. Who gives an amazing performance as a...
He's a good spooky actor.
He's a, god damn it, rat catcher. Fucking
Exterminator.
Exterminator, yes.
Right.
Pesticide guy. And this mill is full of rats, just full of fucking rats, and it's his job to, hunt them down. And he takes it really seriously, and he's got this little terrier, and then he catches his rats. And he gives this talk with the boss about Nam, and how the different way, how they would use rats to torture GIs, the Viet Cong. And they would get a real hungry rat and put him under a bowl on a guy's naked stomach.
Right.
And if the rat wasn't hungry enough, they'd heat up the bowl, make it hot, so the rat would get away from get away from it,
which would be
eat his way into the body. Yeah, it's just, and Brad Dourif actually, he sheds a tear. He's so into it. He's so
emotionally vested.
Yeah, in this one little scene, man. He's an amazing actor.
Yeah,
I can't say enough good things about Brad Dourif. He is so fucking underrated. Amazing. What's yours?
My first one?
Yeah.
The very first one that popped into mind doesn't come up a lot with people because they don't relate it to Stephen King as much, I guess. But it was a movie I talked my mom into taking me to on Mother's Day. She thought we were going to see a kids movie, a feel-good movie.
It was a feel-good movie.
It was. I talked her into Stand By Me.
Dig it.
And
yes.
The Body, it affected me for life, and it still does. It's still that same thing, that tight unit of friends that you have when you're little, and
12
and you just
12 years old, man.
You drift apart, and eventually you realize you never have friends like that again. It's never that same feel, and there's always one in the group that passed away, and
I disagree with that. I do, and I didn't as a kid. I took everything Stephen King said for granted, but I found that as I grew older, I do have relationships that equal that kind of wonder.
But still in an adult moment, though. I guess you'll never have those innocent days again, I guess, is what it is.
Yeah, probably. Probably.
Like you can't help but be weathered and jaded through life.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean. There are still really good bonds as an adult.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not the same thing as, like, let's walk down the railroad tracks and
that's true. That's very true.
Lake and stuff. You'd look at me and go, "What the fuck?" Right? I don't really want to.
I worked today.
Exactly.
Man, I'm tired.
Right.
I'm sore.
I loved the cast. I loved. There were so many, right, and so many just one-liners I used from that movie for years. If somebody said chopper, I always had to say sick balls.
Chopper,
just no matter what. Even if you're talking at a motorcycle rally, and it's still the thing that pops in my head.
Sick balls, choppy.
The crazy ear, and the chubby kid growing up to be completely different looking.
Right. Married Rebecca Romaine. Right. Vern grew up.
John Stamos' wife, right?
Yes. He grew up and married Rebecca. He married Mystique. And Verna.
And it's because he had a comb in his pocket. He was fucking prepared.
That's fucking true.
And he found that jar of pennies finally. Right?
That comb fucking paid off in the end, didn't it?
Yep.
Oh, man, sliders.
And Kiefer Sutherland, I thought he was great in that. Everything about it affected.
Oh yeah, Kiefer Sutherland plays the villain of the piece.
Douchebag.
And he's really threatening and scary as fuck. Right. I'm pretty sure this was before Lost Boys. I think so, just before.
That's how.
And it was like, wow, he's the scariest motherfucker
fucking
on the
Ace,
planet.
He had a switchblade.
Ace Merrill, dude.
Even his buddies were scared of him. It was.
Especially his buddies were fucking scared of him. They were more scared of him than anybody. They were following him around like little bitches. Whatever you say, Ace.
Right.
Yeah, we could talk about that movie the whole
forever.
fucking episode. It was, the short story is obviously, it's called The Body. It's not called Stand By Me. I think the producers and directors and whoever else felt that The Body was a title that
wasn't going to get it done.
Wasn't going to match the movie.
Right.
And Stand By Me and the song and, all that shit that goes with it.
It was such a feel-good movie, too.
It was a very good feel-good movie.
With a haunting underlying...
right?
People forget that they're not going to find this girl's
it was a boy. Yeah. And that boy And they were going to be on the news.
Such an afterthought. It becomes like sometimes thinking about that movie, I even forget about that. That at the end they do find this dead boy. And he looked like shit.
Looking bad.
He looked really bad. He looked pretty...
Not necessarily hit by a train bad,
right?
but he looked bad.
Right? I was expecting...
I think they toned down the gore because it just wouldn't have fit the movie.
I agree.
It would have been
I agree. I think it would have been like...
out of place, yeah.
And it taken you out of the movie. It would have taken you out.
The blueness of that kid made it feel all right, though. You know, it gave me that uneasy feeling it was supposed to.
It was enough.
It was enough, yeah, he did look bad. And he was like half under a tree or a bunch of leaves or something.
He was under a bunch of brush. Yeah. Great flick, man. Couldn't say it.
What's your number 2?
Maximum Overdrive, a.k.a.
That's
Trucks.
my number 3. Love that movie.
Emilio Estevez.
Right.
80 at his peak, at his 80s, action
right there, yeah.
dude peak, and it's a very Stephen King story.
The only one that he directed?
Yeah, the only movie that Stephen King himself directed. He has a great cameo in it. We talked about it the other day.
Love that start.
This machine called me an asshole.
Yeah, so and the banner, the LED banner above the thing just kept saying "fuck off."
Yeah, I don't remember that. I kind of do,
great.
but I don't.
It was like the start of the movie, and I think I missed it. I think this is the first time I actually noticed it.
Yeah. I rarely see Maximum Overdrive from the very beginning.
Right.
Very rarely. I usually catch it right around the lawnmower scene.
Okay.
And with the Little League.
Yeah, I always get it with the soda pop.
Okay,
fucking shooting out that thing.
Exactly. And I usually just miss that.
That I didn't notice it before, I guess, or I was paying attention more this time. But everyone in that movie does the disastrous wrong idea. The fucking soda machine doesn't work, so they stick their face down there. The fucking gas pump doesn't work, so he points it at his face.
That was clear.
This rocket launcher's jammed. I'm gonna turn around backwards. It was fuck me,
looking down the barrel of
and an AC/DC soundtrack as well. The entire movie, which I liked.
That's one of the coolest parts about the movie.
It matches
the soundtrack
and the truck.
The
Green Goblin fucking truck.
Do you know that I heard something about Marvel freaking out about that? Because it's very clearly the Green Goblin from Spider-Man. And I don't think they won. I don't think...
a likeness rights kind of thing going on?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And I think they got away with it because they were branding it as like a Toys R Us truck kind of. I mean, it didn't say Toys R Us, but it looked like that. It was a delivery truck that...
It was a toys truck. I forget what the name of the toy. Happy Time fucking Toys.
Something like that. Yeah.
I don't remember.
And it was all black though. It still looked mean.
It was so crazy. Who the fuck does that? What toy company?
That has my overactor award of the year.
The girl.
We made you. She goes on that rant twice. Once she gets away with it. Second time she gets shot.
She does. That's right.
But oh man. That movie it's a good time for me, and I saw it early teens, so it was all about that AC/DC soundtrack, and it was really shoved down our throats. I remember a lot of advertising for it, like it was like on the side of 7-Eleven cups and shit.
So in Maximum Overdrive, there's a comet, right? That's flying past the Earth.
They are stuck in its trail for 7 days.
The radiation or something from this comet tail is bringing all the machines on Earth to life. And they've become
not only alive, but vindictive.
Yeah, they're homicidal machines. They're out to kill the human race.
Right.
See, in the book, it's just trucks.
Right.
And it was super weird. Like, it's even weirder. Like, why just trucks? And why, they all just decided there was no comet story.
Right.
It was just the trucks of the world came to life one day. And it ended with, I remember the narrator, the Emilio Estevez character, imagining a world where just bulldozers are bulldozing the whole world flat.
Right.
And asphalt trucks are coming behind them and laying asphalt and asphalting the whole planet. And just, it was really cool.
Right.
But yeah, Maximum Overdrive is freaking awesome. What's your number 3? Or that was your number 3.
That was my
What's
number
your number
3.
2?
My number 2 is Christine.
Yeah, I was just thinking about Christine.
And it's And keep in mind, my number one is obviously The Shining, but we covered that already.
For sure.
So it's on my list still because it has to be. But,
Okay.
So I'm going straight to Christine on that. I loved that fucking car. The idea of it.
Plymouth Fury.
Yeah. Jeez, that thing was just, it rocked.
Had some wings on it, man.
It was great special effects, like when it was rebuilding itself and popping back out, and it was.
I remember watching a special, I think on HBO as a kid, about the making of Christine.
Really?
Yeah,
I'd
and
love to
John
watch that
Carpenter
now.
talking. They had like
The
30
soundtrack too,
cars or
right? The
something.
soundtrack was so.
Oh, all the old school, early 60s, late 50s fucking doo-wop music and shit.
But when it went bad, like when they were
And then it
chasing
went to
somebody
the
down
John
the road,
Carpenter
it sounded like fucking
soundtrack.
Halloween. It was a
Because John Carpenter directed
Oh, yeah.
Christine.
Oh, yeah.
And he clearly did the music
Clearly.
for
Yeah.
Christine.
Yeah,
But yeah, Christine was about a killer car.
yeah. And I mean that bastard that sold it.
The old man.
He knew, and it was like he
The old man, that kid. So it's about a nerd, Arnie.
shitters.
And Arnie, like, sees this fucking old beat the shit Plymouth Fury sitting in a backyard.
Calls out to him, too.
And he's like, I gotta have it. And his buddy's like, you don't want
That's
this
a piece
piece
of
of
shit.
shit. And that old man comes out with his
Which,
weird...
if you remember, his buddy is the guy from My Science Project
he
that
is.
we were talking about
He
before.
is. And My Science Project is a great movie.
Right?
But he comes out with a weird spinal scoliosis thing around his
Yeah.
back.
Like a weird old school...
Yeah, and it's this creepy old man from Home Alone, the next door neighbor, and
His whole,
he played
his whole
Ed
body
Gein
was
as once too.
tinted yellow. Like, he looked like he
He
had
looked like
jaundice.
shit,
It
right?
was- yeah.
Smoking a cigar or something,
Something,
or a Lucky Strike. I don't know, something
Just
bad.
a prick.
I think it was a cigar. And he sells that piece of shit to Arnie for too much fucking money, and Arnie
know,
pays for it.
And his parents were
Gladly.
pissed,
Oh, they
too.
were
my God.
furious. Like, you're going to park that piece of shit in front of our beautiful fucking home? Arnie, what the fuck?
He's running out there sliding shit underneath it. For
And he's sitting there slouching. I'm sorry, Mom. I'll make it better. Poor Arnie.
And then it just
No respect.
changes him.
Mm-hmm. It turns him into a fucking man. That car turns
Yeah,
him
it
into a
does.
fucking man because Arnie was a fucking bitch.
He starts dressing black.
Yeah.
and
And he
it's-
turns into fucking James Dean from Rebel Without a Cause
Right.
real fucking quick.
It reminded me of another Stephen King
mean.
movie. He turned into that character kind of from Dark Half.
Oh, yeah, that's on my list, actually.
Is it? Cool. It's not on my list.
I
so
love
I'm
the
glad
Dark
we got it.
Half.
I do too. But you know what I mean? He went to that like complete opposite
What was it?
persona.
Alexis Machine or some shit? It was based on Bachman.
Right.
Stephen King's
Yeah.
relationship with his alter ego,
right.
Richard Bachman, the Bachman books, which I'm
Good
sure we'll
times.
talk about.
Yeah.
I have.
So what do you got?
You know what I watched recently that I think's worth talking about
All right.
is Gerald's Game.
Okay, I haven't seen it at all.
Wasn't gonna see it.
Is it a Netflix movie?
It is.
Okay,
It is a Netflix
okay.
movie, and I don't remember it being like an hour and a half or 2 hours long. I remember it being pretty quick.
Okay.
And it was based upon the book Gerald's Game, which was fucking scary fucking scenario. You know,
I own the book. Still haven't read it.
a woman and her husband, their relationship's on the rocks. They try to spice it up. They go to this lodge in this like cabin out in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
He's like, hey, let's play with some handcuffs, and handcuffs her to the bed, both hands, like.
That's what the
Jesus
cover
on a
of the
cross.
box looks like, right? Like he's cuddling
And he has a
handcuffed
fucking
girl
heart attack
and dies,
and dies.
and she's handcuffed.
And she's handcuffed to the bed in the middle
remote
of fucking nowhere. And check this out.
And this was like a last minute getaway where no one knows they're there either.
I don't remember exactly, but there was definitely like, we need to be left alone this weekend. We're trying to get our shit together. We're going to be doing the nasty. If this cabin's a rockin',
Right.
you know.
Don't come knocking.
And
he dies.
he fucking has a heart attack after handcuffing her. They have a brief argument because he gets a little weird and like, call me daddy, and she's like, stop making you, I don't like it. All right.
Okay.
And we find out later why. She doesn't even know why at the time. But before they go in the house and get freaky, she feeds this dog, this stray dog, some steak, some like super expensive steak. He's like, really? You're giving him the fucking... All right.
he's like, I'm sorry. You know, she's like, stop yelling. You know, and he's like, let's go in the house. Come on. So they go in the house. They leave the door open. They just left it open. They didn't even think about it.
Like unlocked or open?
No, open. Check it out.
Shit no one would ever do.
That dog that she fed comes back after he has his heart attack.
Still hungry and just ate steak.
Dude.
Damn.
Starts eating her husband. She's locked there. Like, oh my god, this is so fucked. It's a great.
Oh my god.
It's a fucked up story.
I'm gonna have to watch it then. That's a good sell.
It's really good. What's her name? Italian chick. Yeah, she was in Sucker Punch, and she played Silk Spectre in Watchmen. The first Silk Spectre, the mother. She's the mom on Spy Kids. You know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Everyone knows what I'm talking about. She plays the wife that is handcuffed to the bed, and at night
is she still dressed when she's handcuffed?
She's in a nightie.
Naked? Okay.
She's in the movie. She's in a nightie.
Okay.
At one point, she wakes up at midnight, and there's a fucking man in her room, and I mean, like a 9-foot tall, glowing eyes, spooky looking fucking dude, like with a misshapen head, like look all stretched out, like he's all long and
like
stretched
the
out.
Grays, like an alien thing, or more
no, he's human.
Or, okay.
He's more monstery. He's like if you took a human man, and stretched him out, and gave him like a misshapen head.
Stretch Armstrong.
And and he's just standing there looking at her. Now at this point, she starts talking to herself. She's had a mental break. Her husband's talking to her. A version of her is talking to her. You know, she's having conversations.
Like, is she looking at her husband and he's moving?
No, his body's on the floor.
Or?
There's a version of him that is walking around.
Okay. Wasn't sure if it was like like Werewolf in London, where he's
no,
shredded and talking.
It is. It's her just imagining she's talking to him because she's had a mental fucking break. And he starts. He represents the negative side of her. The her that she's talking to represents the positive side of her. You can do this. You can get out of this.
Right.
And he's the negative side. You're fucked. You're gonna die.
Right
that dog is going. Once I'm gone, that dog is coming for you.
Oh my god.
Long story short, it's her.
And seriously, like I'm assuming they covered all the obvious bases. Like it was a metal hardcore fucking headboard or something, and just could not
bolted
break
to the wall.
See, of course, and so they covered those bases.
There is a shelf just above the bed that has a half glass of water and the keys to the cuffs. And she figures
she can't,
out,
like, roll herself backwards and kick it or something.
No, it's just in such a weird position. And
so
I won't spoil it for you
okay,
because you haven't seen it yet.
Right.
So I'll just say that the Moonlight Man, which is the creepy stretched out guy that's the name she has for him.
I like that.
Turns out to be not what you think. And
so there's a twist.
Oh, such a good one.
All right.
Such a good one. In just a very Stephen King, Mr. King, I fucking love you kind of way. Like, man, you wrote like 6 stinkers in between this and there, but man, you did it again. Thank you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's good payoffs.
Gerald's Game is definitely one of those where it was like, this is why I read Stephen King and why I have anything to do with anything he does. It was that good.
It was that good.
It was. It was really. It was really good.
Very highly recommended.
The ending.
Okay.
Just it's like whoa. You'll like.
I liked it.
You'll like it. What's your next one?
I had to go with the obvious.
Okay.
One of the first ones that I saw, I loved the way it was set up. I loved that it was done with George Romero. Creep Show.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
The mini stories sucked me in.
Mm-hmm.
I watched that movie so many damn times. Like it was like a HBO or a Showtime or whatever. Like summer break from school, I watched that fucking tape like 50 times.
I love anthologies. Love them.
Those books kept me going when I was losing interest in reading. Those short stories would keep me in it.
Right.
It was
right.
For a long time.
They're digestible.
Right.
You know, it's not. And Stephen King can go off on, you know, a 600-page. What
Tangents.
the fuck, Mr. King? I'm trying to stay with you, man.
And then he comes back. So, out of Creepshow, what's your...
Well, really, when you're talking Creepshow, Creepshow 2, The Raft. Just that fucking... One, again, the short story I read as a kid fucked me up. Because I read the short story, I couldn't and I was really young. Right. I couldn't bring myself to watch the Raft in its entirety.
Really? It's like 19 minutes.
The leg when
it's bent backwards and it gets sucked down.
The Raft is about 2 college boys and 2 college girls that one drunken October afternoon they decide to cruise out to the lake and
smoking a lot of weed too, the whole drive. And
Stephen King, he's a smoker clearly.
And I'm still dying to know. I just watched it recently. He pulls out like a thing out of his little Speedos, which I find to be hilarious. He's got another joint and matches and shit in there.
He did that.
How the fuck did he do that?
I don't know.
Because it didn't look like a pill bottle or anything. But anyway,
I don't know, and I forgot about that actually. They swim out to this raft, and before they even get there, this skinnier kid, the nerdy kid, looks out and he sees this circular black thing as
eating a duck.
Yeah, yes, that's true. It does eat a duck.
Yeah.
And this kid's like, "Did you fucking see that?" And they're all like, "Fuck it, it's a fucking oil slick. Come on, you know."
Dude's already halfway there.
The
jockey dude's already, and he's like, "Come on, hurry the fuck up."
And they swim out there, and it turns out that this black circular oil slick is actually more like the Blob.
It starts chasing him too. It gets to a really weird hectic moment where the nerd dude's like, "Come on, hurry up!" And she's like, "What the fuck are you screaming about?"
And he bangs her knee on the fucking raft, dragging her up, and they're all like, "Fucking relax, dude."
He's like,
"Look, there's just something about this thing, okay?" And
I love how they say oil slick for so long,
right? His instinct does him well. And there's a lot of that in Stephen King stories. A lot of instinctual. I feel something is wrong with this person or this object or something.
This picture.
There's something telling people. And if Stephen King, if you listen to Stephen King, the thing that's telling people telling people these secrets that they should know, it's that fucking turtle. it's Marduk the turtle. Who's like steering you in the right direction,
right?
But yeah, definitely
it's the raft, huh?
It's just so gross and bloody, and it's this acidic, blob that just sucks people in, and
at least you can pick one. I can't.
It's so gross, man. When it starts sucking the jock through the boards in the raft into pieces, and he's just bones are breaking and snapping and splintering.
And then even when all of that happens, the nerdy dude still turns into a fucking douchebag dude and is like pulling up that girl's shirt while she's sleeping.
Yep.
And he's trying to get a peek.
Yeah.
And then she realizes half of her face has been sucked through the slat.
Yep.
Still a dude. Even after your best friends and your girlfriend are dead, he pulls her shirt out. Like,
weird.
I'm looking at it going, fucking 1980s douchebag.
It was a weird situation.
It was.
It was a weird book.
I love the crate.
Yeah, the crate's cool.
For obvious reasons. I have ex-wives, so I just love the crate. The mouthy girl that gets it.
What was
Jodie Verrill, though. That's the one for me that I can watch over and over and over.
The weeds, the space
Stephen
weeds.
King, dumbass motherfucker that touched that meter. He cooled it off, broke it in half.
Did he cool it off? He did, didn't he?
He did. Well, that's how he touched it first, and it burned him,
right.
and he got the little blisters.
That's right.
And
Stephen
I'm
King
cool this thing off.
plays
the greatest hillbilly of
a farmer, a hillbilly farmer, who's
with the worst fake Southern accent.
Yeah, whose property is hit with a meteorite that cracks open.
He immediately thinks it's going to be his payday.
Yeah,
and then he cracks it open and he pours out all the goo like a dumb shit too.
And this weed overtakes his entire property, him as well.
Everything.
It ends with him covered in the weed and just
a fucking shotgun in his mouth.
And a shotgun in his mouth.
Yeah.
Cool story, man.
What's your next one?
I want to talk about a movie that should have been good that fucking wasn't.
Story. Dolan's Cadillac.
I tried to watch it. Mm-hmm. It was on Hulu. Mm-hmm. I watched the preview.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I'm sold. I want to watch this.
Okay.
And then I found out I had to have like the upgraded Showtime package on my Hulu to watch it. And I'm like, why the fuck do you show it to me? The preview, after I checked it out, I looked at the comments and a bunch of people said, you don't have to bother watching this movie because the preview leaked every fucking cool part about it. The one thing, I love revenge stories. I'm a sucker for revenge stories. I love anything revengey. The scene that it showed where he lures that fucking Cadillac into what just slips underneath the pavement, and it all just buckles up like a fucking wave and stuff. I needed to see that. I needed to see that scene. So I'm still in the hunt for finding that, but I want to watch it. And I like Christian Slater. He's an overacting douche.
Here we go. I read the book before I saw this fucking movie. That is not the person I pictured playing Dolan. Okay. I read recently that character, Dolan the Mob Boss, was almost played by fucking Sylvester Stallone. Now,
would have that been better or worse?
It would have been better.
You think?
It would have been better because have you ever seen Get Carter?
No.
That's Dolan.
Okay.
And
so Stallone would have worked for you.
Slater wasn't Dolan. Slater wasn't old enough to play Dolan. He didn't have the
right feel even in the trailer that I watched.
Because this teacher, Dolan's Cadillac, two teachers, a husband and a wife. The wife witnesses some mob shit.
It was a bunch of women being transported in the back of a fucking moving truck, like slave trading shit.
She sees something.
Right.
Dolan has her killed so she can't fucking prosecute. The husband is like, fuck you.
Right.
And watches this fucking guy for years.
That's what it looked like from the trailer. Like
years.
It looked like it wasn't like a 2-month stalking.
He watches Dolan age to perfection.
Like at one point, it says in the trailer, he's like, I've watched him. He goes on this date every year to Las Vegas or whatever it was. So, I mean,
he watches this guy go from salt and pepper to this manly iron gray to this beautiful silver while he kind of wastes away and goes bald, and he's like, this piece of shit's got it all. And my wife, not really, but she's dead, but... He watches him and he takes this trip to Vegas every year from LA, I think, or somewhere. But he comes up with a plan to catch him in his Cadillac and bury him in his Cadillac. And every summer he has off because he's a teacher and he goes and he works with this road gang out in Arizona or something in the 120-degree heat every year.
Yeah.
And the other teachers kind of laugh at him like, what are you doing? What the fuck are you doing this for? And after the third summer, he's starting to get strong. And he's looking dark. And people are noticing a fucking difference. And they stop talking to him, kind of. He's getting scary.
All right.
And eventually it's time. He knows enough about road work equipment.
So are you more referencing the book or the movie right now?
Both.
Okay.
And
So why was it such a turd?
Christian Slater.
That was it?
Yeah.
It was that.
Yeah. It was. And I like Christian Slater. I do, but he was a bit pretty close. Close enough. It was like 50-50. They shortened it up. You know what I mean? Yeah. They definitely shortened it up. But Dolan's Cadillac, I think should have been better.
Okay.
Great short story. Great revenge story. Great revenge story. Should have been better, though. Should have been a better movie.
Nice.
But worth reading. What's your next one?
My next one is, again, a childhood favorite kind of teens. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of other ones that I think are better, but I love the cast. I love the story. It was a great short story. Silver Bullet.
Oh, yeah. I got Silver Bullet on mine, too.
I love the guy from the people under the stairs. He's a creepy motherfucker. I mean, everything I've seen in Twin Peaks.
Great cheekbones.
Yeah, he's just... there's something not right about that
dude.
Silver Bullet. For me. And I love the... Gary Busey is...
So Corey Haim plays a kid in a wheelchair. like a souped up wheelchair.
Yeah, that his crazy ass uncle made for
Gary
him.
Busey plays his uncle. It built this crazy ass wheelchair for him.
He just feels sorry for the kid.
And the kid has this suspicion that the murders that are being committed in town are being committed by a werewolf.
Yes.
And crazy Uncle Gary Busey kind of wants to believe him, but because he's still a kid too.
Yep, totally.
And he's trying to be an adult at the same time. He's on his fifth divorce, and
totally.
he's Gary Busey.
Gary Busey, yeah.
And,
it wasn't a stretch of a character at all.
No. And it turns out, right, that
fucking preacher. Only Stephen King again would roll it around that far.
The man of the cloth is the werewolf, and he's been killing who he considers to be sinners.
Cleaning up and taking advantage of his cycle.
I know there was one girl who was pregnant out of marriage, and he killed her because of it. She was going to commit suicide.
I believe so.
She was taking a bunch of pills, and he killed her before she could die from her overdose. Great movie.
Yep.
Great movie. Yep. I really like Silver Bullet a lot. I didn't learn about Silver Bullet until I was probably 12.
I had read Cycle of the Werewolf.
I've never read it.
And I heard it's a pamphlet. It's the smallest
I've seen
book,
it.
man.
I've flipped through it, and it's really
such a
brief.
It's such a good story.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cat's Eye.
Agreed, on my list as well.
General the cat. I had a cat named General for a while.
Really?
It looked just like him. Cool. I was looking at it recently. I remembered it as being more than 3 stories. It's 3 short stories. All 3 stories are tied together through this stray cat that's wandering from story to story. Mm-hmm. I believe the first story is The Ledge or Quitters Inc.?
Quitters Inc. is the wrap-up, I'm pretty sure. I think
that's the wrap-up is the
story.
Goblin. For sure. I know that.
You're talking about running in the little girl's room.
The Cat's Eye?
Yeah, right? So when he's trying to steal the breath?
Yeah, that's the last one.
Okay.
That's the very last one. And I can never remember which came first, if it was The Ledge or Quitters Inc.
It doesn't feel like either one of them is first.
I know, right? I think it's
Maybe
The Ledge. I think
it's the fucking douchey tennis teacher and the fucking...
Yep, the out-of-work tennis instructor and the mob boss's wife are going to run away together.
And the guy who plays that mob boss has creeped me out since I saw him in Dune.
Since he was in... I was about to say...
weird in Dune.
I associate him with Baron Floaty Fuck from Dune.
Baron Floaty Fuck, exactly.
He is fucking creepy as shit in that movie.
Kitty Prime. Something.
Did you know that before David Lynch got a hold of Dune, that fucking Wells, Orson Welles was going to play that character, was going to play that part.
Interesting.
Yeah. Interesting. Can you imagine that?
It's a nice twist,
right?
The Ledge.
The Ledge, and the mob boss finds out that this tennis instructor has been banging his fucking wife.
Right.
And he's like, I'll tell you what.
Who's played by the guy from Airplane.
Who's played by Stryker from Airplane and Airplane 2. Stryker!
Yep. That's all I really know him from, too.
Me too.
That and Cat's Eye.
Airplane and The Ledge. And, I'm sorry. Real quick. Remember Starman with Jeff Bridges?
Oh, I do.
Do you remember Starman, the television show?
No.
There was a television show based upon the movie. Stryker played Starman.
Pretty sure I know about that, but I blocked it out.
Okay.
Useless information and
sorry to poison your memory with it. Yeah, it happened. Anyways, and the mob boss sells this fucking dude. You can have, what was it, $500,000 or $1 million or something. A suitcase full of money.
Cash prize.
If you can walk around this 6-inch ledge around my
giant ass building,
when it's like 40 stories up,
pillars and
you can have the money and the girl.
Right.
He's like, I'm a betting man. This is Vegas.
Totally. And with some obstacles from what I remember. With some obstacles.
He fucks with him a bit. There's a trombone scene. And you're like, holy fuck, and he almost goes over.
Yeah.
But he's hugging this wall.
Oh, God.
And there's a pigeon.
There's a pigeon moment, yeah.
He has to walk on this little 6-inch ledge.
And the cat's out there at one point, too.
And the cat is up there.
The cat.
Witnessing, because the cat is the witness. The cat, we see the movie through this cat's eyes.
Pretty much, right? Yeah.
But then there's Quitters Inc.
That's my favorite. Story.
James Woods plays
I love James Woods.
A guy, a suit and tie guy.
Jesus, that really genuinely wanted to quit smoking.
Trying to quit smoking.
And got in over his fucking head from get-go.
Quitters Inc. is a company run by
99% success rate.
That's right. Run by some hardcore, hard pipe-hitting motherfuckers.
Fuck, dude, they'll hide in your closet. They're in traffic next to you. And it always made me wonder, like when I got older, I wondered what the cost of that program was, for how much they.
From what I understood, they based it upon what you could afford.
Okay, which is perfect.
From
$2,000 in your wife's finger.
Right. Yeah. We will hurt your wife. We'll hurt your daughter.
Shock
we
her.
will.
And then they shocked the cat.
We will maim your wife. You know, if you put a cigarette in your mouth.
And they told him up front. He knew the consequences.
But he just didn't take it seriously.
And I love that Stephen King ending where they're all clanking glasses and cheering. They're celebrating like a year smoke-free or whatever. Mm-hmm. And you see the wife's fingers missing. And you're like, motherfucker.
It's a great ending.
Great story. And the troll. This is your favorite, right? This is the little goblin. Whatever
the little goblin guy that lives in Drew Barrymore. Drew Barrymore was, 8 years old at the time.
Just like the movie right before Firestarter.
Right.
It was just right.
And it might have been after Firestarter.
She looked younger, but
yeah,
I'm not an expert on Firestarter.
I'm not either. I'm not a huge fan of Firestarter either.
It's not on my list either.
But she has this little demon goblin troll guy that lives in her wall. And comes out at night and sucks the breath out of her lungs. And her mother insists it's the cat.
The fucking cat, right? Get rid of
My mother said fucking cats are fucking.
And it's like a stray cat, isn't it? Or does she own it? I can't remember.
It's a stray cat.
Gotten in and she just refuses to let it go.
Yeah, she's like, I want to keep him.
And actually ends up being the protector, right?
The cat
gives that little fucker
saves
a swat.
The little girl from this little goblin that lives.
I remember he had like the little jester's hat.
Dingle, dingle,
bells.
dingle.
Yeah, and that was like fucking creepy though.
It was really creepy.
Cruising out from underneath it, then you hear the little pitter patter of the feet.
And I watched it as a little kid, and I would fucking have nightmares about that little fucking thing running around my fucking room.
That was on my list of re-rentals. The ones where like I would drag my parents to the same video store.
Cat's Eye.
The same
I was lucky. It was on HBO a lot as a kid. I remember.
We had one TV, so I had to watch what my dad wanted for the most part.
Right.
I had to wait for them to not be using it for the rental.
Me too.
It's a pain in the
Me
ass.
too.
But I get it now. It's my house too. It's my TV.
We've gone through a lot of mine already.
Yeah.
But I you know what I would like to talk about is Salem's Lot, which I know was originally a miniseries.
Right.
And I love Stephen King TV miniseries. I remember them being an event as a kid.
They were. It was huge.
And I remember everybody in the neighborhood being excited about it.
Right.
Especially when it was out. I remember everybody talking about it and shit.
And that's how they did The Stand too, right?
The Stand was also a miniseries, yeah. A longer one.
Yeah.
But Salem's Lot was before my time. I didn't catch it until much later when it had been re-edited into a film.
Okay.
I always thought it was a TV movie because of the way I'd seen it. It turns out it was actually 2 parts. And I'm not sure what they cut out because I still have not seen the original miniseries.
Okay.
I've only seen the edited into a film version.
I avoided both.
So good.
Love the story.
It's great.
I love the book.
It's great.
And
do you know the history behind Salem's Lot and why Stephen King wrote it?
It was Jerusalem's Lot, no?
It was.
That's
Stephen
where the witches were.
Check this out.
Burned there, no.
That's the fictional reason.
Okay. Right.
Stephen King was basically rewriting Dracula.
Right.
In his world, in his Castle Rock, rural Maine world, he just took the story of Dracula. I just
watched an interview with him about how if he had to attribute one thing that really turned on writing for him and changed the game. And he just over and over with Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Really?
That was the thing he read that it was the game changer for him where the pen hit the paper.
He was like, I can do this.
Yeah.
He read Dracula and was like, I want to do
And he even commented how a bunch of failed attempts followed Dracula for Bram Stoker. It was just weak sauce from there on out. But that one was just. Some people have that one in them, and that was the one.
He was a one-show pony, dude.
And it does feel like that. I love that the makeup of the dude. He almost looks like a Count Orlok.
He looked very much like Count Orlok. It was based upon the Nosferatu
had to have been.
type
It was
look.
The pointy ears, the bucky teeth. He
The
was a
bald
scary
head.
looking character.
Really scary.
Especially for TV.
In the film, the TV version, he does not speak, which I thought was unfortunate because he does speak in the novel. He does look different in the novel as well. He doesn't have that bald, weird Nosferatu pointy-eared look.
Right.
He's much more Dracula, much more Bela.
Right.
But I think it was Stryker again. Stryker was the name of his human daytime keeper.
Okay.
That
looked out for him.
Did all the business, bought the house, was the face of I forget the name of the vampire now.
I don't remember either.
Just I'll remember in a second, but Salem's Lot was really scary for me as a kid. I remember watching it, just catching it on a Saturday night on fucking a horror movie marathon, Svengoolie, Chicago local TV. And it was scary, man. There's a scene where there's a guy who has been bitten and turned into a vampire. One of the townspeople is floating outside of someone's window, knocking on the window in the very Dracula, you need to invite me in for me to get in kind of way.
Right. But I'm gonna do this.
And I'm gonna get you to open this fucking window. I'm gonna get you to do it, and it scared the shit out of me. They did something great with the contacts. In that movie, that wasn't worn out yet. It was still new. Right. You see it a lot in fucking movies now.
Yeah, but it was unique at the time. I know I never, like I said, I didn't watch it, but I've seen stills all the stills, all over everywhere, social media and stuff. And it was a very unique look for its time, and you could tell it whatever it was doing was irritating the actor's eyes too, so it was extra red and poofy, which made it way better. It looked really cool. So we're at the cutoff. Let's make this wrapped up part one. And obviously we got to do a part two for sure.
Yeah, because something I would like to talk to you about is Stephen King books or stories that should be movies.
Okay. Yeah, we've got to do that one for sure too.
The Girl That Loved Tom Gordon specifically.
That's the one for you.
That and The Talisman.
Talisman. Okay.
Him and Peter Straub.
That would be a big one.
Yeah, The Talisman and Black House. Those two
I'd like
together.
to see The Long Walk.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
And we were talking about this the other day.
That'd make a good Netflix movie.
I'd like to see Survivor Type. The guy on the island
again.
with the heroin.
Make a good Netflix movie.
It would.
It would.
Let's go sell it. Let's make some money.
Let's do that. All right.
All right. Talk to you next time.
Very good.